Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show. Bipartisan Lummis Gillibrand crypto bill due in June. Burn, Luna, burn. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is May the 24th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. So take a minute, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast now, because we're here at 10 p.m. every night to bring you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Democratic Senator Kristen Gillibrand and Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis put on a bipartisan show of support for crypto. They were speaking today at the DC Blockchain Summit in Washington, D.C. And it's while they were at this summit that Senator Lummis said that the pair would be unveiling their legislation in June. This legislation creates a comprehensive baseline for cryptocurrency regulations in the United States. And for her part, Senator Gillibrand said that the bill, quote, will allow this industry to grow, flourish, continue to innovate, and allow us to compete worldwide with the most stable market possible here in the United States. Senator Lummis spoke to one of the points that the pair might find themselves at odds with the chair of SEC over, because this legislation would take it out of the hands of regulators. It would codify into law that Bitcoin and Ethereum are commodities. Senator Lummis said, quote, it is our intent that the Commodity Futures Trading Commission take the reins of jurisdiction over those two. Now, we were just talking about the CFTC recently, Sunday night. And let's just say I expect the CFTC would agree with the senator's comments. Senator Gillibrand said that this legislation would give the CFTC oversight of not just the futures market, but the spot market as well. And that is another thing that the Security Exchange Commission seems to have just assumed that they were going to take control over. And that's understandable. At present, the CFTC oversees the markets for derivatives based on commodities. They don't oversee the commodities market themselves. Now, the bill would preserve the importance of the Howey test. For those who don't know, the Howey test is a legal doctrine. It's a test that U.S. courts and regulators use to determine if something is a security or not. So that's not going away. They're not just cutting the SEC out of the action completely. If the Howey test determines something is a security, then the SEC will get them. And while it's true, they're considering most crypto trading to come under the CFTC. In many cases, issuers would still have to file their disclosures with the SEC for a period after the coin's debut. That said, it does include a path for coin issuers to get themselves away from SEC oversight. This is something that the crypto industry has been wanting for quite a while now. It also codifies the fact that crypto miners are in no way broker-dealers. And if they're not broker-dealers, then they don't have to follow broker-dealer rules. And that lets them out of the worst of the IRS reporting requirements. On top of that, they are looking at another self-regulatory agency. It'd be something like the Financial Industry Regulation Authority, or FINRA. An SRO, or Self-Regulatory Organization, is an organization that's basically run by members of the industry. Now, they're the ones that set standards and perform some level of enforcement actions. They use authority that's granted by federal agencies to use in their favor to give their decisions some weight. Also discussed in this bill are stablecoins and bank charters, special bank charters. These charters would be limited to issuing stablecoins and would come with their own capital requirements. And I'm really impressed, actually. There's a lot of good stuff in this bill. You can tell people have put some time and some serious thought into crafting this work. Senator Lummis said, quote, we're trying to find the sweet spot between allowing innovation to continue to occur unimpeded by regulation, but provide it a regulatory framework that everyone can understand. Some of the innovation is actually being slowed down due to the lack of regulation. And to be sure, there's been a lot of bills that have gone through the House and the Senate. They're bills that tried to regulate one sector of crypto or another. Senator Gillibrand likes their chances. She thinks the legislation can get broad bipartisan support. She said, quote, I'm very optimistic because this bill has been heavily researched. We've talked to stakeholders for over a year. We've tried to incorporate all of the business models and asset classes that have been to date created. That optimism, however, is not universal. A set of talking points that were being circulated amongst the members of the Blockchain Association described the draft in less than glowing terms. They said it was proposing, quote, an unprecedented and unworkable tripartite regulatory regime requiring coordination among the SEC, CFTC, and a new SRO. Kristen Smith, executive director of the Blockchain Association, was more charitable in her words. She said, quote, this is a work in progress, and it's super healthy to have back and forth and to provide feedback. And the senators, they are under no illusions here. They know that they're going to have to make changes. A spokesperson for Senator Lummis said there, quote, was never a question that the bulk of the regulatory structure for digital assets needed to fall under the jurisdiction of the SEC and the CFTC, and added that it was unlikely that such a bill would make it past Capitol Hill if the SEC wasn't involved in some way. And they said that several members of the industry have signaled support for the bill's direction. Now, I'll be honest here. I have concerns. I'm concerned because I haven't seen much in the way of cooperation or agreement out of Congress. Not where regulatory over crypto is concerned. And then the White House. They've gotten involved too. There was the executive order that Joe Biden penned earlier this year, and then there was the president's working group. So we've had a wide-ranging review on the way. This review of policy that the president ordered isn't likely to get done until Q3 of this year at the earliest. So that's the end of summer. Not much time in there to midterms. And I think politicians are going to be cautious, so they're not looking to enact any major legislation until those midterm elections are over. Let's take a minute and look at the markets. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.27 trillion. It's a little better than the $1.25 trillion of yesterday. It's up 0.96% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 1.39%, Ethereum up 0.29%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 2.65%. The global NFT market cap is up over $11.07 billion. Sales volume is up 1.57% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Other Deed, followed by Goblin Town, Azuki, Degen Tunes, and Mutant Apes. Now, keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Why would you do this? Literally burning money. That's what Do Kwon tweeted to his 1 million followers. Now, this was in response to a request. Twitter user Ronson Antoine asked online for a burn address. They said, quote, can you give us the burn address of Luna so the community can start burn Luna ourselves to reduce the supply? Do Kwon responded with a burn address. And he quote tweeted it by saying, to clarify, as I've noted multiple times, I don't think sending tokens to this address to burn tokens is a good idea. Nothing happens except you lose your tokens. Want there to be no confusion whatsoever. And the population of Luna in the wild is a subject of interest. That's a part of the issue with the price and a part of the issue with fixing Luna. Now, I've seen people say that it's foolhardy, trying to burn Luna down to something reasonable. Literally burning money, Do Kwon called it, sounding rather out of touch. Sir, it's not worth anything anymore. If people are at the point of burning their own personal supply in an attempt to save the coin, at least consider their point of view. In short, after your management, after the condition you left Luna in, what the hell else do they have to lose? Because that's where people are. They believe in the value and the potential of Luna so much that they're willing to burn their personal property to save it. And people are using it. The address has been cross-posted to the Terraforms. And the cross-poster said, let's go, vultures. Show that you really care about Luna and take the initiative and burn some of your coins. Aren't you guys true supporters? And then They provided a link to the tweet that had the burn address. I don't think anyone out there is burning their entire supply. I've seen a lot of commentary like, quote, "Great, I burned a few K just for the culture." And "I have sended only a little, nearly 8%. Now remember, this is a serious proposal by people to burn Luna down to a manageable supply. For anyone who's new to the subject, there are two opinions on how Luna should go forward after its Black Swan event. One of the problems, arguably the second largest problem of the whole thing, is that the algorithm went crazy trying to balance UST when UST lost its peg. It started minting mass amounts of Luna tokens, enough to go from around 350 million to almost 7 trillion. Now, one solution, that championed by Do Kwon in the Terra Builders Alliance, that solution is to abandon the Terra blockchain, rename it Terra Classic, and move on. They would start up a new blockchain and in some way airdrop a bunch of Terra on the Luna Classic holders. Then the two blockchains would be completely separate things. That doesn't sit well with everyone. There are a bunch of lunatics, as they style themselves, who would rather watch Luna burn. Some of it anyway. And they're pointing to Shiba Inu as an example. As of this weekend, 50 billion SHIB have been burned, and they're hoping that this will happen with Luna. Binance's CZ is on the burn camp. In a tweet, he explains his position. He said, quote, "This won't work. Forking does not give the new fork any value, that's wishful thinking, and one cannot void all the transactions after an old snapshot, both on-chain and off-chain exchanges." CZ also said, quote, "Reducing supply should be done via burn, not fork at an old date and abandon everyone who tried to rescue the coin. I don't own any Luna or UST either, just commenting." So, on Twitter, that's one thing. In the voting box, that's a different story. And the votes in the voting box are leaning towards creating a new blockchain. And it's looking like it's going to go the way I predicted. They're going to fork, so to speak. It's not a technical fork. That said, it's a fork in their resources. Do Kwon is happily retweeting shows of support from projects that plan on making the move to the new Terra chain. Make no mistake, he has a large number of people willing to follow him. A number of developers are also heading off for parts unknown. Stater Labs is a Terra blockchain refugee, and they've decided to take their liquidity staking business over to the Binance blockchain, and others are moving as well. The biggest question as far as this goes, who's left? Who is going to be left on the blockchain? People are saying it doesn't make much sense to keep backing the original Terra blockchain. The crypto community is good at not making sense sometimes. That said, how much of an ecosystem will be left? There are whole projects like games and NFT marketplaces that were live. Are they going to take a chance on the new Terra, the old Terra, or go somewhere else? I think people asking for the burn address because we like underdogs. Look at what happened with GameStop shorts. When people were trying to squeeze GameStop out of existence, people rather illogically stood up and threw their money to support GameStop. I think people are likely to stand up and throw their money in support of the OG version of Luna. If they feel like there's enough to work with, enough to rebuild on, then I think that they're likely to give it a chance. God knows we've thrown our money away at sillier crap. I think if they can hold on to the new bull run cycle, who knows? Then it could just come down to whether they burned enough Luna or not. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed tonight's show, like, comment, and subscribe. Give us a glowing review, because that helps other people find their way to this podcast. And we're here each and every night at 10 p.m. Pacific, bringing you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. You can find us on podcasting platforms everywhere or on YouTube. If you have questions or comments, reach out and let us know. The email address is nick@cryptoovernighter.com. That's nick@cryptoovernighter.com. We'll see you at 10 p.m. here tomorrow night.